What this does is help sculpt the throat to make it sound different to your liking. You could sound like, I don't know, a giant. You could sound like a midget. You could change the way you sound. First of all, vocal range. For those who don't know what vocal range is, it's the range of your vocals, how high and how low you could go. For me, I'm a baritone. If you sing high, like a bird or whatever, that is soprano. But for me, I'm baritone. I'm using the baritone. Next is a source glottal voice type. Now, this depends on your performance. How do you want to sound in your performance? Are you going to be screaming? Are you going to be whispering? Or are you going to do regular pop singing or whatnot? For usual cases, if you're doing a regular voice like I'm doing right now, I would select like medium. But if you are going into like extreme measure loudness and whatnot, jump into the loud or intense, see what feels right. And lastly, we have the source throat precision. It's gonna be like telling the throat how much of a change you want to do. It's like retune speed for auto tune, but over here it's like how do you want it to be? You want to be a subtle change, not too much. You want it to be medium where people could hear a change, or extreme where they definitely hear a change. Next we have the pitch.
Pretty easy to understand. Raise it up, you get a higher pitch. Lower down, you get a lower pitch.
Next section, add the breathness. This is gonna do with the breath, the air. It's kind of like a high frequency kind of thing. So if I raise it up, you could hear how it sounds a little bit more crisp, but of course you could hear like a little shh, shh, shh. Down here we have a high pass frequency. If I go all the way up, the higher you go, the less of your original track you'll have. The model throat will basically model the way your voice sounds, the vocal cords. That's where you'll see an adjustment up here. So if the length has to do with if you want to sound like, longer, because if you're a taller person, you'll have this kind of like lengthening in your voice. If you're short, like your throat's short, you'll sound like a little midget. The width is the wideness, so you can see up here it sounds a little bit more airy, breathy, open. Down here it'll be more narrow, nasally. All right, next we have the model glottal. Model glottal, model glottal. Say that 10 times. AKA the vibration in your voice. So you can see the pulse thing adjusts depending on your style over here. Yeah, son. Yeah. You see all the vibration in my voice. High, high, high. Even with a high sound, you hear a lot of bass. Output section, this is going to be the output. Of course, bypass is going to take all the effects and say, nah. So,
yeah, boy, yeah.
Yeah, boy, yeah.
Snap, man, snap.
Level matching, this is if your voice gets like intense throughout sculpting. It's going to like do its best
to try and get this volume to match the original. So yeah, you can see it's trying to raise it up here. Yeah. If I take this off, look how low it is. It sounds way low
in comparison to my original voice. So this first voice down here, this number 1, this pertains to the vocal cord. All right, and then these 2, 3, and 4, this is the passageway for your throat. And 5 is going to be the vocal, basically the mouth, as you see in the diagram. This is going to be the shape changer. So let's say, hey, I want to sound a little bit more down here, with the voice. It's kind of like closing it in. Yeah. So you can see the type of things that's happening when you change your vocal cord. So just like that, without adjusting the bottom here, I changed the way my voice sounds. Just from it. If I hit bypass, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Last thing to talk about for this video, of course, this resets it. So if you click it, it resets this to default. But just know once you sculpt something here, and then you adjust the model throat or the width, it's going to adjust that same thing right here. So you see, raises it up because, this is basically scaling. But yeah, that's basically the throat EVO.